Hee doggy. She is dirty, dirty, dirty. That'll run down in there and lubricate those bearings. And I'll show you why this was so dirty now. I've got a desktop fan that picked up dust and I want to clean that up, and also a box fan that's filthy dirty, and I'll show you why at the end of this video. Let's take them apart, clean them up, lubricate them, put them back together, and I'll show you how I do it. First we'll clean up this little desktop fan, and there's 4 screws on the back. Just take your screwdriver and take out the screws. Alright, with the screws out, it still doesn't pull apart because of 2 things. One, this knob needs to be removed, and that just pulls out. And the other is these foot pedals. And the way you pop those off is just put your thumb inside there, push with your finger against the fan, and it'll pop off. Just like that. There's a little hole that clips in. With that off, now we can pull the cover off the grill. And you can see the dust that's picked up. It's not real bad, this one. But you don't want that blowing around your bedroom or your house, so we'll clean it up. As far as the fan blade goes, I'm just going to take some water. It's really a window cleaner. I've got water, vinegar, distilled vinegar, and just a few drops of Dawn's soap. And I'm going to go ahead and spray a rag, get that damp. Instead of spraying this and getting the motor all wet, and just wipe the blades off. And this side is pulling air through, and it's not real dirty. I'll just wipe it down. If you needed to, you could take a little brush. This doesn't need it, but you could take a little brush and brush that out like this. But like I said, this doesn't need it. Typically, you're going to find the front guard is the one that's really dirty. Now we'll take the grill over to the laundry sink here, and real simple. Just brush that out. Probably don't even need water. And that's good. Then just a drop of oil, 3-in-1 oil. And the easiest place to get at that is just opposite of the windings. Turn the blades over like that. And I'm just going to put a drop down in there. And let that settle down in there. Like I said, I'm going to put a drop in here. This is a real thin oil, so it'll soak right down in through. And I'm going to leave this set this way, maybe for 15 minutes, just to let that soak down in there. And while I'm doing that, I can reassemble it. Make sure your wires are tucked in out of the way. Not pinched in between. Just snaps together. Put the knob back on. It only goes one way. I can put the legs back on. You just take this little nub stick it in that hole. You have it tipped up like that, and then just tip it down. Snaps in place. Before I flip this over, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and just run it for a minute, and that'll help the oil get down in the bearings also. Nice and quiet. Let that oil soak down in there. Now I'll unplug it. Turn it over. Put my screws in. And these are just going into plastic, so you don't want to go too tight. It'll just strip it out. And she's good to go for another season. Hee doggy. She is dirty, dirty, dirty. Mercy, mercy, mercy. You're probably not going to see this from your house fan, but anyways, we'll clean it up and you'll know how to clean your box fan. First thing we do is make sure the fan is unplugged. Then we'll pull these little legs off and they just slide up. That's how they pop in. Set these aside for washing. Then what I'm going to do is I'll start on the other side. This is the side the power cord comes in. Flip it over. And I'm going to unscrew these 6 screws that hold the grill on. Now, of course, you can just use a screwdriver to take these off, but I have a battery drill. Make it quicker. And we'll pull the grill off. Take it over to the laundry sink and clean it. Just going to take a brush. And I don't want all that dust everywhere, so I'm just going to run the water and clean it that way. Might have been better off taking it out, and I might do that. Taking it outside and clean it. Here we are outside. Before I get everything wet, I'm going to take the back grill off. Just these 6 screws. Just takes a minute. Now, like I said, before I get everything wet, of course you don't want to get the motor wet. And that's quite dusty in there. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to take my blower, or you can use compressed air, or you could use a brush. But I've got a blower. I'm going to go ahead and take my blower, and I'm going to blow this out, the part I can't get wet. And now I'll take my spray bottle and spray down the parts that I couldn't hose down. This handle on the top, just you can push on these little tabs and pop that out. All right. This handle just snaps back in there. There we go. Our control knob. Just pops back on there. Just realized I can't get in back behind the base of this fan, so I'm going to pull this off, and I'm just going to pull up, but I'm going to pry on the motor base so I can get leverage and pop that off. And it just slides off, and I can clean in back behind there. And I'm not going to spray that, but I'm going to spray my rag and wipe this down. And you could blow that out too if you have a blower or compressed air. And I think I'll go ahead and do that. And while I have this opened up, there's some bearings down in there. I could take this all apart. It's not necessary. I'm just going to put a few drops of 3-in-1 oil, thin oil in there. That'll run down in there and lubricate those bearings. Beautiful. Now I'm going to set that aside, and I'll clean the grills. That'll have soaked in 10-15 minutes while I'm cleaning the grills. And then we can put it back together. Now, no rocket science to this. I'm just going to rinse these off and brush them and then dry them.
That's a good idea.
And now we'll go back and put it back together.
That looks much better.
And of course, reassembly is just the opposite of taking it apart. We'll just slide this on. There's a little oil drip there. I'll wipe that. Our bearings are all oiled. There's a flat spot on the shaft and a flat spot here, so it can only go on one way. You just press that in till it bottoms out. It's all set. And we'll take the grill, set that on. You don't have to go crazy tightening these screws down. It is going into metal, but they're just a plastic cover. Alright, that's it. Flip it over. And we'll snap the feet back on. And the other one. They snap in. We'll plug it in and test it. How about that? Just like new. And I'll show you why this was so dirty now. And here's where the fan hung from this bungee cord right here. And we are out in the barn with Minnie D. Hi, Minnie D. And the girls. I used the fan out in the barn. That's why it's so dirty. These dirty girls and their dirty dirt floor. Right, Minnie? If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects online.